In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NFL games happening on October 13, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NFL games after fully watching this video. One thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Detroit Lions versus Dallas Cowboys. 2 NFC teams with high aspirations will face off, each aiming to secure a crucial victory as they clash in the Lone Star State. The Detroit Lions travel to Texas to take on the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday afternoon. With both teams looking to make their mark, Detroit is coming off a bye week, having last played on September 30th when they defeated the Seattle Seahawks 42-29 at home, covering the spread as 4-point favorites. Meanwhile, Dallas pulled off a dramatic comeback to edge out the Pittsburgh Steelers 20-17 in a Sunday Night Football showdown last week, winning outright as 2.5-point underdogs. Historically, the Cowboys hold a 17-11 advantage in the regular season series between these two franchises, and they've won the last 5 meetings, including a narrow 20-19 victory at home on December 30th, 2023. In one of the most eagerly anticipated matchups of Week 6, the Lions return to Dallas for a second consecutive season to face the Cowboys in what many expect to be a thrilling rematch. Last season's encounter was a wild and controversial affair, with Detroit seemingly on the verge of victory before falling victim to some costly officiating errors, most notably on what would have been a game-winning 2-point conversion. This time, the Lions come into the game poised to capitalize on a Cowboys squad that may be vulnerable after an emotional come-from-behind win on the road against Pittsburgh in primetime. Adding to the Cowboys' challenges, they have a looming matchup with the 49ers, which could be a distraction, even if it doesn't directly create a look-ahead situation. There's reason to believe Dallas might experience a bit of a letdown following last week's victory, especially given the circumstances. Compounding Dallas' difficulties is the growing list of injuries, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. This is a major concern as they prepare to face a Lions offensive line that established itself as the best in football with a dominant Week 5 performance against Seattle. Unlike the Cowboys, Detroit has the advantage of extra rest coming off their bye week, which should allow offensive coordinator Ben Johnson ample time to craft an ideal game plan. The Lions are well positioned to exploit a Dallas defense that ranks 31st in defensive line yards and 29th in third down success rate. Detroit's ground game, led by David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, should find success early, especially with Cowboys' key defensive players Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence sidelined. As long as the Lions' offensive line keeps quarterback Jared Goff protected, he should have little trouble spreading the ball around and thriving in the dome environment, as he has throughout his career. The matchup strongly favors Detroit, particularly in the trenches, making the Detroit Lions to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. This season, games with point totals exceeding 50 have consistently gone under, reflecting the overall decline in scoring across the league. While the Lions have shown some vulnerabilities on defense, the Cowboys' offense lacks dynamic playmakers outside of wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. As a result, opposing defenses have been keying in on Lamb, without much concern about being beaten by Dallas' other receiving options. The Lions will likely adopt a similar strategy, especially in the second half, where Lamb has been notably quiet, managing just 4 catches for 25 yards after halftime all season. On the defensive side, Lions star Aiden Hutchinson is expected to be a major factor as he leads one of the league's most formidable pass rushes. Hutchinson, a leading candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, has already tallied 40 pressures in just 4 games and will look to exploit a Dallas offensive line that has struggled with pass protection. If Detroit can establish the run and control the clock, this game is likely to stay in the mid to upper 40s, making under the projected total is our full game total pick. Atlanta Falcons versus Carolina Panthers. A pair of fierce rivals from the National Football Conference South are set to take the field this Sunday, each aiming to secure a vital victory in the competitive world of professional football, right in the heart of North Carolina, also known as the Tar Heel State. The Atlanta Falcons, currently on the road, are preparing to face off against the Carolina Panthers in what promises to be an intriguing matchup. Atlanta comes into this game riding high after a thrilling overtime victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, finishing with a score of 36-30 in their last outing, which took place at home last Thursday night. They successfully covered the betting line as a 2.5-point favorite in that contest. On the other hand, the Carolina Panthers are coming off a disappointing performance, having suffered a significant defeat on the road against the Chicago Bears last Sunday, where they lost by a score of 36-10. In that game, Carolina was unable to cover the spread, entering as a 4-point underdog. Historically, the Falcons have had the upper hand in their regular season series against the Panthers, leading with a record of 36 wins to 22 losses. However, it's worth noting that Carolina managed to claim victory in their most recent meeting, narrowly winning 9-7 at home on December 17, 2023, while also covering the spread as a 2.5-point underdog. As the Atlanta Falcons prepare to face the Carolina Panthers, they will be going up against a team that is grappling with significant injuries, particularly on their defensive line. This unit has struggled mightily, allowing the most points per game in the entire league. Quarterback Kirk Cousins is expected to shine in this matchup, just as he did against Tampa Bay in their previous game. His performance may not solely be attributed to the weak defensive setup of the Panthers, but also because he and his teammates are well rested heading into Week 6, having not played since last Thursday. On the flip side, Atlanta has experienced its own challenges on defense, and it wouldn't be surprising to see Chuba Hubbard exploit the vulnerabilities in this beleaguered Falcons defensive line, which has allowed the 4th most rushing yards in the league this season. This matchup sets the stage for a potentially explosive game with both teams facing their own set of difficulties. Carolina did exhibit a glimpse of hope during their victory against the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 3 following a quarterback change. However, the optimism generated by that win quickly faded as they faced defeats against the Cincinnati Bengals and the Chicago Bears, leaving the team in a tough spot. Currently, the Panthers find themselves at the bottom of the league in scoring defense, having surrendered at least 26 points in every loss, with 3 of those games seeing them allow a staggering 34 points or more. In contrast, the Atlanta Falcons entered this matchup with momentum, fresh off a significant divisional win over Tampa Bay. Additionally, they had the advantage of an extra 3 days for rest and preparation leading into this game after their Thursday night victory. During that game, the Falcons demonstrated offensive prowess against a respectable Tampa Bay defense, suggesting that they should be able to navigate through the Carolina defense, which has shown considerable weakness, to secure a victory by a margin of at least 10 points. Although the Panthers managed to show some promise with their breakout performance against the Raiders, it appears that it has been a fleeting moment in what has otherwise been a challenging season. The brief resurgence sparked by the 1-week refresh under Andy Dalton didn't seem to have lasting effects beyond that initial game. The Atlanta Falcons, in comparison, are clearly the superior team in this matchup. Despite having narrowly secured their wins this season, the circumstances surrounding this game indicate a strong potential for an explosive offensive performance. Given the current dynamics, the Atlanta Falcons to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. When examining the total points line set by the bookmakers for this week's game, it's clear that they've made it a challenging task for us to forecast. By averaging the points scored per game by both teams and comparing it to the average points allowed by their opponents, we arrive at a projected total of approximately 47 points. However, as we analyze trends emerging from the first 5 weeks of the season, certain patterns become evident. The Carolina Panthers have compiled an over/under record of 4-1 thus far this season, indicating some potential for scoring, despite their challenges. Meanwhile, the Falcons have participated in numerous closely contested games, often going toe-to-toe against strong offenses while struggling against weaker defenses. In this particular game, we'll witness Atlanta's offense going up against a struggling Carolina unit. I anticipate that the Falcons will be able to score over 30 points in this game. The pressing question remains, will the Panthers be able to muster at least 2 touchdowns against the Falcons? After only managing a mere 10 points last week against Chicago's formidable 5th-ranked scoring defense, I believe they can rise to the occasion. Thus, I'm confident in predicting that the game will exceed the projected total, making over the projected total as our full game total pick. Cincinnati Bengals versus New York Giants. As we enter Week 6 of the NFL season, fans can look forward to an exciting lineup of football action. This week, we'll focus on the highly anticipated Sunday Night Football matchup featuring the Cincinnati Bengals and the New York Giants. Cincinnati arrives at this contest with a record of 1-4, while the Giants come in slightly better at 2-3. This game promises to be an interesting clash between two teams with different trajectories this season. The New York Giants may not be considered a premier team by most analysts, but their improvement this season is evident. The Giants boast an exceptionally talented group of pass rushers who are finally starting to realize their potential. They currently lead the NFL with an impressive 22 sacks over the first 5 games. Their defense has proven to be quite formidable, demonstrating a strong performance in critical situations. They rank in the top 10 for both opponent third down conversion rates and red zone scoring percentages, effectively limiting teams to an average of just 21 points per game, which places them at 11th overall in the league. Additionally, the 2024 draft class is making a notable impact, with rookie cornerback Drew Phillips receiving high praise from respected sources such as Pro Football Focus. Furthermore, rookie running back Tyrone Tracy Jr. made a significant impression last week, stepping up in the absence of Devin Singletary by rushing for 129 yards on just 18 carries. Perhaps most impressively, quarterback Daniel Jones appears to have found a level of comfort in his game. Historically plagued by turnover issues, Jones has thrown only 3 interceptions this season. The acquisition of rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors, who is already making a splash in multiple statistical categories, has certainly bolstered the offense. Overall, New York is fielding a more complete team this season and finding ways to secure victories, a stark contrast to their opponent's struggles. While Joe Burrow has been performing remarkably well for the Cincinnati Bengals, he might be the only player on the team who can claim to be having a standout season. Against all odds, Cincinnati suffered a surprising defeat to Baltimore last week, even though they held a 10-point lead with less than 9 minutes left in the game. Although fans are well aware of the game's outcome, it's crucial to highlight the glaring deficiencies in the Bengals' defensive unit. Defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo has been working tirelessly to hold his group together, but they have suffered significant losses in talent, making it unlikely they will experience a turnaround as they approach Week 6. The Bengals currently hold some of the worst rankings in key defensive statistics and consistently struggle to maintain their composure in the red zone. Prior to the start of the season, we had initially projected the Bengals as 6-point favorites in this matchup. However, that assessment has become less relevant as time has progressed. The Giants are returning home, where they have shown they can compete effectively against Cincinnati. They possess the ability to apply pressure on Burrow, control the clock, and should be able to find more offensive success against a vulnerable Bengals defense. The sentiment that the Bengals cannot continue to lose with Burrow leading the charge has resulted in many bettors losing money over the past few weeks. While Burrow is undoubtedly an exceptional quarterback and the receiving core has talent, the overall team has too many weaknesses that savvy coaches are capitalizing on. Giants head coach Brian Daboll has done an admirable job of placing Daniel Jones in advantageous situations, which has paid off as Jones has looked increasingly competent this season. In this matchup, the Giants are likely to dominate the battle in the trenches. New York currently leads the NFL in sacks, while Cincinnati's offensive strategy relies heavily on Burrow's ability to throw the ball effectively to compensate for their defensive shortcomings. The Bengals are likely to find themselves in challenging third and long situations, primarily due to their ineffective rushing attack, and the Giants possess a robust defensive front. Dexter Lawrence, too, has proven to be a disruptive force, not only pressuring the quarterback, but also excelling at stopping the run thanks to his imposing 6'4", 340-pound frame. With Lawrence commanding attention in the middle, the edge rushers will find themselves in favorable one-on-one matchups to pressure Burrow quickly. Unfortunately for Cincinnati, their rushing game has been virtually non-existent, with no running back on the roster surpassing 80 yards in a game this season. The Cincinnati Bengals are indeed expected to be favored and should ideally win this game. However, their record of 1-4 is a troubling reflection of their actual capabilities. Fans have been eagerly awaiting a breakthrough from the Bengals all season long, yet they find themselves in a dismal situation. The Bengals' inability to run the football and their status as one of the NFL's worst defenses are significant obstacles. Meanwhile, the New York Giants have managed to secure 2 victories this season as significant underdogs, and their defense has proven to be above average, potentially posing challenges for a one-dimensional Bengals offense. Given these factors, surprisingly, we find ourselves advocating for New York in this matchup. Therefore, the New York Giants to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. In the past 5 weeks, not a single Bengals game has resulted in a total score falling below 51 points, with the only exception being their Week 1 loss against New England. The last 4 matchups have seen scores of 51, 71, 58, and an astonishing 79 points. We mention this because defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo and his once-praised defense seem to be beyond repair at this point. In fact, their performance appears to be deteriorating further. Each of their last 3 opponents surpassed 350 total yards, including the struggling Panthers, who managed to post an eye-popping 520 yards against them last week at home. Cincinnati's pass rush has been virtually non-existent, ranking 31st in the league with a 3.75% pressure rate. Additionally, they hold some of the worst rankings in third down conversions, fourth down situations, and red zone efficiency. This is not a defense we can confidently rely on at this moment. Meanwhile, Joe Burrow continues to excel in his role as the Bengals quarterback. Every aspect of Cincinnati's passing game ranks within the top 10 in the NFL, and Burrow leads multiple categories among all NFL quarterbacks. While New York's defense may apply pressure to Burrow in certain situations, he is likely to still find ways to succeed. On the flip side, the Giants' offense appears to be in better form than it has been in recent years, and it seems likely that rookie sensation Malik Neighbors will make his return to the lineup this week. After sitting out last week due to a concussion, Neighbors has still managed to top all pass catchers with 35 receptions in just 4 games. Even without him last week, the Giants managed to rack up an impressive 420 yards and score 29 points against a battle-tested Seahawks defense on the road. The Bengals' offense is potent enough that it is not far-fetched to think they could score 48 points on their own. Conversely, their defense is so vulnerable that it is equally plausible they could allow 48 points. Over the last 4 games, Cincinnati has averaged 32.5 points scored while simultaneously allowing 32 points per game during the same stretch. Every single game played by the Bengals since Week 1 has easily surpassed a total of 47.5 points. While the Giants' defense has shown strength, it is unlikely to be sufficient to contain Burrow and the Bengals for an entire game. After posting a solid 29-point performance themselves, Daniel Jones and the Giants' offense should find themselves in a prime position to score significantly against one of the league's most porous defenses. The notion that the Giants could host a high-scoring game at the Meadowlands is not one that we typically entertain. However, given the recent trend of teams scoring against Cincinnati, it is a possibility that cannot be dismissed. Therefore, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.